Hello everyone! In this video I want to answer a very tricky question: how to impress a girl. Also, we will discuss with you how to feel impressed when you are on a date with a new lady. For those of you who are new at this channel, I will remind you that at this channel we talk about love, we talk about dating, building a healthy, meaningful relationship, about international dating in particular. My name is Svetlana Muchar and I'm the dating coach, the founder and the leading matchmaker at Diolli.com. So, how to impress the girl? First of all, I don't like when people say that, well, I was impressed or I was not impressed when it comes to dating. Because usually when people say that I was not impressed, they mean that their expectations were not met. And very often when people have unrealistically high expectations, it is humanly impossible to meet them. Of course, right now you can tell me that, oh, I just have high standards or higher standards than average males or females, and this is why I was not impressed. Well, the easy answer is get over yourself, like really. Right now, it's no one's duty to impress you, to make you feel super special. No. Well, our own feeling of happiness, of content, it's in our own hands, and a lot depends on your attitude. When you go out on a date hoping that she will impress you, well, you kind of place yourself in this passive position that you will be the one in the jury and the lady will have to do her best to entertain you, and after the date you will judge whether you were entertained enough or not enough. If you want to impress a girl, well, I assume that you want to give the proper first impression, which is a smart thing to do, because when it comes to dating, many men and many women as well, they often forget that there is competition in the dating market, and it's not just about you choosing and picking and demanding to date someone else. Even when you hire a matchmaker, well, it works only if the other party, if your dating partner, has also enjoyed the date. So it's a two-way street. You can't just expect to feel entertained, to feel happy, to feel special, and not to think about the other party. Because if the feeling was not mutual, she won't be willing to see you again. Sometimes when we recommend a gentleman to bring flowers, to tell compliments to a lady, to ask questions, to share information about himself, to share some stories, to pay attention, to be present, and the gentleman at the end of the day tell that, oh, I did everything, and for example, she said no to a second date, so your dating tip, they don't work. Different people, they have different expectations, and if we are talking about a very attractive woman, for sure she has male attention, so it is naive and crazy to expect that she has been living on an island without other people around to tell her, to show her with their actions that she is beautiful. So if she is attractive, if she is easygoing, if she is actually dating, of course when she goes out on dates, she has heard all those compliments before, and for her, compliments, it's a must. Because every time she goes out on a date, she hears praising how beautiful she is. Or she gets flowers if she is from Eastern Europe, because when Ukrainian men or Eastern European men ask ladies out on dates, they bring flowers. It's part of culture. So if you haven't brought any flowers, yes, you will actually stand out, but not in a positive way. I remember once a gentleman told me that I was telling her compliments, I was present, I was actually actively listening to everything she was to say to me, and she still said no to the next date. What is wrong with her? Well, perhaps it was not enough. Perhaps there were other men who were at the same time very handsome, younger than you were, who were more creative with their compliments or with stories. For example, she found their sense of humor better. She has preferred their jokes to your jokes. Dating is kind of a gamble. You go out, yes, you try to do your best to make a proper first impression, and then you wait and see how the other party reacts to all your efforts. Of course, the best scenario, the healthy scenario is when the other party, the lady, also tries to do her best to impress you in a way, to give the proper first impression, because I don't like this concept that one has to impress the others. At our channel for ladies, at our blogs for ladies, in my books, I often talk about a so-called wow effect, when the lady has to be more beautiful than her profile pictures if, for example, she is looking for someone online. Because very often ladies, they kind of overdo it with Photoshop, with different filters. Of course, when we recommend ladies to look as the best version of themselves in their dating profile, we don't mean that they have to look like a love child of Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, Monica Bellucci, and all other beautiful, attractive people. You still have to look like you, so that you have a chance to actually exceed expectations of the gentleman when you arrive on a date and he is wowed because you look even more beautiful than your profile pictures. But on this channel we talk about dating tips and dating mistakes that men do. We have a separate channel for ladies, and we talk a lot there about pictures, about overdoing it with Photoshop, with filters, etc. So how to exceed her expectations? Well, first of all, you have to keep in mind that yes, you have to do your best to give the proper first impression, but with some ladies it is humanly impossible, out of your powers, to exceed her expectations. And if she is really attractive, if she is much younger, for sure there is competition, and sometimes you are just out of that competition because you are older than men she usually dates, or for example you are shorter and height is very important to her, or you are less easygoing, less bubbly than, for example, men she usually dates. Then, well, you can act like Rambo in that movie, and you can train your ass off, like trying to grow those muscles, learn all the jokes, hire all dating coaches and learn all the tricks. And maybe it will be enough, maybe not, because sometimes, well, her bar is raised so high by other men that it's so hard to compete. And in this case, you should think whether you want to be part of that competition or not. I was thinking about a not dating related example. I know a lady, and she has relocated to Munich, Germany, and she was looking to rent an apartment, and she has painted this picture that, well, she has a budget, and now, well, all these apartment owners, they will prepare champagne, caviar, roll the red carpet for her, and they will wait for her to show her apartments, and she will be the one picking. So now imagine her surprise when she has finally arrived to see the apartment or that location, and she sees that there is a line, and she is number 43 in that line to actually visit that apartment, to have a look, and she has to compete with other people to actually rent it. So she was shocked, and she didn't even get to see that apartment because someone who was staying closer to the entrance in line actually has decided to double the price, and the owner has decided to rent that apartment out to that person. And sometimes men are built exactly the same attitude when it comes to dating. They think that now he will be the one choosing the ladies, picking the ladies, telling that she is not blonde enough, or her eyes are not blue enough, or she should have been younger, this and that, and he will be the picky one, the choosy one. And at the end of the day, the situation is vice versa, because the type of ladies he wants to date, well, there is a line of guys, different guys who want to date them as well, and the lady is in the position to actually choose a guy she will be willing to date. Still, if you want to impress a lady, I recommend you to be honest, to be sincere, not to pretend to be someone else. And right now, don't fall for this mistake when you tell too much information to her, when you share all unnecessary details like how much money you own to the bank, about your diseases, about medicine you are taking, about all your relatives and all your insecurities. first date, it's not the time and the place for all of that, and second and third dates are also not the places and the time to share that information with the lady unless you want to scare her off. Also, be attentive, be fully present on a date, prepare yourself to the date so that you are in the right mood. And by preparing yourself, I mean that you actually manage to change your mood from like the working mode to the flirting mode, so that you have enough time between your working duties and the date to actually switch yourself into flirting, into being light, into being optimistic, into being positive. Because sometimes people rush to the date and bring all their hectic energy, all this working mode with them. So they think about deadlines, they think about reports they have to finish, they think about clients, about all the problems, and they bring this energy with them to the date. What else can you do to impress a lady? Of course, you can bring her really exotic, unusual flowers. Still, try not to overdo it, because you will raise the bar, and next time she will expect something on the same level, something as exotic, as thoughtful. Also, when you ask a lady out, sometimes gentlemen try to impress a lady way too much, and they invite her to a place, to a restaurant they can hardly afford, and they order champagne or wine or dishes, cheese that they can't afford. And of course, they raise the bar, they show the lady that this is the standard of the dates I will be taking you out to. And when on the second date he is inviting her to KFC or to walk strolls through the park, and the lady is surprised because first date was way too different, and you have set her expectations, you have set the level of her expectations, and now you're telling her that, you know what, like, I'm kind of out of my budget because I overdid it the previous date. Well, that's not the smart strategy. I remember one of our male clients, he was courting a lady who was 12 years younger than he was, very attractive lady, and he wanted to stood out. So after the first date, on which he has arrived with flowers, so he has presented her with a nice bouquet, he has actually sent flowers to her office. And the lady was impressed because she has mentioned briefly where she works, the name of the company, and the gentleman actually has decided to walk the extra mile to Google the location, the office address, and he has ordered flowers for her. So she was nicely surprised because his gesture, well, it showed her that he wanted to impress her, to court her. He wanted to stand out. And this couple, by the way, ended up getting married. Flowers, as I often recommend on this channel, it is such an easy and classy way to bring romantic mood into your communication, because with flowers you can change the ordinary lunch or ordinary dinner into a date, and it is an emotional gift. And emotions, this is what we want, positive emotions, romantic emotions when it comes to dating. And I have promised you that we will touch the topic how to feel impressed. And here again, you have to set realistic expectations. Because when you set unrealistically high expectations, you raise that bar, you keep raising that bar. Even a very attractive, easygoing, super interested lady, she won't be able to compete with your expectations. The smart attitude when you go out on a date with someone new, or when you're planning to have a Zoom date with someone new, is the attitude to get to know someone new, to have some fun, to learn something interesting, to meet another person and to see what will come up next. When you raise this bar and you set yourself for these expectations that you will feel very strong chemistry, you will fall in love, you will feel a meaningful connection right on the first date, well, you set yourself for a failure, because, well, first date, how long does it last usually? Like 2 hours? Even 3 hours? It is humanly impossible to build a real, meaningful connections, because 2-3 hours you won't even be able to touch all the important topics that you should, and your dating partner won't be able to get to know you. And you know, it takes true people to build this mutual connection, mutual interest, because we like people who like us back. And if the lady didn't have a chance to actually get to know you better, she didn't have a chance to find enough things you have in common, enough things that she likes about you, then you won't get this feeling that she likes you and she is interested, that she is intrigued to get to know you better. People who really enjoy dates, who really enjoy dating, they usually set realistic bar. They don't raise it too high. I can't call them people with low expectations. For sure, no, and we all have standards, but it is one thing to have standards, it's another thing to live in a la-la land and to expect that she will be like super attractive, super interested in you, and you will look into each other's eyes and you will feel this strong sparkle and chemistry. Sparkle and chemistry, it is usually handmade by two people and by their efforts, mutual efforts. If you see that she is not investing much effort into this communication, into getting to know you better, if you see that her level of interest is actually low, then the smart thing to do is to move on and to look for someone who will try, who will invest equal amount of energy, time and efforts into making you like her. When both parties are doing their best, then it will work and both people will actually enjoy the process and the results. But sometimes men, they settle, I call these lower standards. They settle for a lady who doesn't show much interest. They see that she was not impressed, but she's, for example, younger than his other matches, or in his opinion she is way more attractive, and very often it is subjective, so he tries to settle for someone who is not that interested just because she is hot, for example, younger. How else to impress her? Well, don't play any games except from flirt. Like flirt, it's a nice game when you push and pull, when you give some romantic hints, when you tease each other, when your questions, your jokes, stories you tell are flirty, are romantic. These kind of games is a must-have when it comes to dating. But I'm talking right now about manipulations. When you don't tell the lady that she is beautiful because you want her to be second-guessing whether you like her or not. When you're not calling her straight away, or you disappear, or you do not text her after the date. Or for example, you tell her something like, oh, I would have dated you if you have changed this or that. Like smart, mature women, they run and hide from such an attitude, and the only type of women that will find such attitude, such games attractive are players who like to play this game too and who can actually better you in this game. I hope it was useful to you, so don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because I have no doubts we will be talking more about flirt, first dates, second dates, about the right attitude, building the right healthy attitude and improving your courting skills. So press like, subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments below. I wish you lots of love. Svetlana Mucha, especially for Diolli.com from Munich, Germany.